You're listening to the A Bit From Within podcast with Felicia Marty. To let ourselves contract, we have to let ourselves close up. We have to let ourselves kind of go numb or whatever it is that we're feeling, whatever's natural. We also have to look for those moments on the flip side where we can start to expand a little bit more, where we can feel ourselves breathe a little bit, where we can feel our heart kind of coming back to life, even if we're feeling pain with that, even if it's just for a glimpse of a moment, and then we have to be back where we are. Hi there, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the A Bit From Within podcast. I'm Felicia, and I am recording this on Sunday evening before this is released. And the reason that I share that as a moment of maybe even hear a little hint of pride in my voice, it's because this past week, I felt like I was chasing myself playing catch up all week long. It kind of started with a little bit of a busy weekend last weekend. After the holidays, I just started to get so busy on the weekends. My businesses, we're just doing really well. We're booking a lot of weddings, and we are connecting with some amazing families who are wanting photos, which is great. But the weekends have been really busy. And then last Monday was a holiday, which is fine, but I've gotten into this really nice rhythm with myself where Mondays are my day to just kind of start the week out. So I usually record my podcast, I record our meditation, I catch up with things around the house, I plan out the week, sometimes I have meetings or things I need to do, but I use it as a day that's very important for my mental work. So even though I don't try to usually schedule anything big or try to go anywhere in particular, it is a busy work day for me in the sense that I just get to be here and get myself on track. So last Monday, that did not happen. I don't even remember how it started, but Dave and I ended up getting into a fight, and it was one that ended up kind of like taking over the entire day. And the only reason that I share that, well, there's a couple of reasons. One, to remind anybody else out there who's navigating relationships, whether they're love relationships or friendships, like part of relationships is getting through some hard stuff. And that's where I found myself last week. And it was really difficult. And it was one that kind of came out of the blue for me, that kind of knocked me off my feet a little bit. And then really took up even more mental space. Like it took so much out of me that I felt like I couldn't show up as wholly as I needed to through much of last week. Which is hard, especially in a business like I'm trying to run with A Bit From Within. I do so much of sharing myself. You probably have noticed that I've just been pretty quiet on social media. And honestly, like now Dave and we are doing really well. We had to have a major breakdown in our communication to find a new path forward for better communication. And, that's something I think that we all have to remember, is that sometimes things have to break down in order to be built back up. Now, you might not just have one fight and get back on track. Like a lot of the things that Dave and I are when we wrestle the way with our struggles, the way that we do, it's not just new things that we just tackle once and then it's perfect. It's the same old stuff. It's my patterns and his patterns and our own inner beliefs and our beliefs about each other and our beliefs about the kind of partners that we have, or the way that we believe that other people, it's just, we all have a huge suitcase full of baggage. I mean, I don't know if yours is huge. Mine is huge. I have a huge suitcase full of baggage. And sometimes that stuff gets in the way. I'm a really big believer that, we can act like we don't want to deal with what's in front of us, act like we want to avoid our issues or our problems, but they're going to be there for us at some point. And sometimes the world will kind of push you until you deal with them, or give you opportunities to pay attention. And sometimes you can be doing all of that and still have to go through your journey, however it's going to unfold. And so anyway, all that to say, that's kind of where I was last week. This last week has felt really heavy too, just in terms of some of the conversations that I've had with friends. It seems like people are really coping with big things, like trying to turn over new leaves or trying to make big progress, make big headway, whether they like it or not. I've also talked to a couple friends who are dealing with some pretty unexpected trauma, some big losses, and that is really difficult. There's no good way to get through that. There's only just getting through it. So, one thing I've been thinking about is how just there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, especially in our culture, we have just this idea that we always have to be on the go, always have to be getting stuff done, always have to be making progress and accomplishing things and moving forward onto the next thing, onto the next thing. And that's not how things are supposed to work. Right? Like there's a cycle for a reason. We are awake for a certain amount of time and then we have to sleep for a certain amount of time. Even if we look at the cycles of the season, it's like right now we are in winter. If there's no better example of us just taking these moments to close down, to slow down, to hibernate, to draw inward, to take our, resources, pull them inward and just stop for a little bit, give ourselves space and time to heal, to process, to be, even if we don't know why, even if we don't have all of the best excuses in the world, like, oh, well, such and such happened and then I got sick. There's literally, like, in our culture, it's like, unless somebody has passed away or we are sick, there's almost no other, like, valid, and I say that with, like, air quotes, excuse just to slow down. And we've got to be the people who put a stop to that. We have to break that mold that's been created, and we have to say, no more, enough of that. Like, we all deserve chances to slow down, to rest when we need to, and to be able to trust our own intuition on that. I think about, I'm at that age, I'm in my early 30s, where I've seen a lot of my friends either give birth or are getting ready to give birth or are mothers or have been mothers. And I think about the process of carrying a baby. And I know some moms, like one of my best friends, she was pretty much working up until she gave birth. She went in, she was induced, she had her baby, and then literally the next day she was out and about driving her and her newborn around. Like, that's just her. She is a Gemini. She is all movement all the time. I know other people who literally took their kind of, there's an old tradition around once you give birth. I feel like this is like either an old Jewish tradition. The woman I knew who did this, she went to my parents' Orthodox church. But literally, so I can't recall of like where this tradition comes from, but it's like you give birth and then for 40 days, you stay at home. Nobody comes and sees you. You don't go anywhere. You literally stay at home with your child for 40 days and do your thing. You get through the first 40 days. And I think there's something to that too. And there are people who are somewhere in between. And the reason I bring this up is, could you think of a better time in your life where you could give yourself permission to slow down if that is the right thing for you? To give your body time to heal, to give your life time to adjust to a new being coming in, to a new member of your family, this little being who is 100% solely dependent on you, whose life you need to be so fully aware of in order to take care of this being, this human. And so I just kind of think about that, how we should give ourselves those similar kind of big moments of grace when we're also going through transitions, when we're going through changes in our own life. Like maybe you're not having a baby, but maybe you're going through school, or maybe you just gotten through a big project at work, or maybe you got into a fight with your boyfriend last week and it was so exhausting that it took a few days for you to recover and get yourself back on track. We have to give ourselves moments if we're going to expand to have the contraction, right? Or if, life gives us a moment where we are kind of forced to contract to protect ourselves because of something we've gone through, like a loss or something like that, then we also have to give ourselves moments when we are ready. Well, first, because we're not good at it, we have to let ourselves contract. We have to let ourselves close up. We have to let ourselves kind of go numb, or whatever it is that we're feeling, whatever's natural. But we also have to look for those moments on the flip side where we can start to expand a little bit more, where we can feel ourselves breathe a little bit, where we can feel our heart kind of coming back to life, even if we're feeling pain with that, even if it's just for a glimpse of a moment, and then we have to be back where we are. I think we need a lot more patience with our lives. And hopefully that message resonates with you a little bit. Let's shift gears slightly to our astro check-in. This week is going to be a little bit of an interesting one because we have our first full moon of the year, this beautiful full moon in Leo. Now, what's interesting about this is you got to remember, full moons are when the signs are opposite of each other. So if Sun is in Aquarius, which it is right now, then when the full moon comes, it's shining its full light straight across from it on whatever's in the opposite sign, which is in Leo. Now, Leo is ruled by the sun. So that's why I think this is extra interesting. Leo and Aquarius are also this fire-air combination. We've got Aquarius and air, Leo and fire. Fire and air go really well together. Leo and Aquarius are also both fixed signs. So what that means is fixed signs share certain kind of core qualities. So what you're going to see with both Aquarius and Leo, they share kind of a determination, a stability, sense of perseverance. Now Leo and Aquarius, because they're on that opposition, they also share more things in common. It's kind of like sister signs in a way. So you've got, Leo, which tends to be very like big-hearted and big standout personality. That's that fire sign. It's like the sun is like the spotlight on them, or they are the sun radiating, shining outward. And then you've got Aquarius, which is also a big presence, usually more so of the mind, although the heart really matters for Aquarius too. And while they stand out as well, they can stand out a little bit more as like part of the ensemble as opposed to like the solo performer. But they still stand out. They still kind of claim their own sense of being visionary. Aquarius is a little bit more concerned about the collective, while Leo's a little bit more concerned about the self. And while Leo can get a little bit more caught up in the ego, not in a bad way, but just a little bit more of what's going on for them personally, Aquarius feels a lot more compelled to be like, move towards the higher truth, not their higher truth, but the higher truth. If that makes sense. So this full moon might not be one that you feel like resting and letting go. This one might be one where you feel like you have a ton of energy coming through you because it's this fire sign. You might feel like you're ready to take a stand or communicate something or share something, or maybe you're really feeling like whatever intention you set at the first new moon of this year, that you are like ready to bring it into full light, like you are just feeling ready. But because of, where we're at right now and other things that are happening in the sky, there could be some miscommunications. And what Leo is going to want to make you do is act on it right away. It's going to make you want to solve it. It's going to make you want to speak. It's going to make you want to just kind of go for expelling your feelings. And what I'm going to encourage you right now is that may not be the most productive energy. So if you take that route, you're going to have to be willing to live with the consequences. What could be really helpful right now during this full moon is to kind of allow ourselves to kind of just zoom out, to kind of be willing to see the bigger picture, to be willing to take our mind to the journey of like, what's been happening? What are you trying to intend for? Like, what have you been working towards? And where are you going? So kind of stay in a little bit more of that Aquarius big picture visionary kind of mindset, and notice your feelings, feel them fully. Maybe you do some, fiery self-care things like turn up the music and dance like crazy, or run or exercise, or cook some delicious spicy food, or, really like just things that are a little bit more associated with like warmth and fire and fun. Maybe share a glass of wine with somebody. But try not to get too caught up in the details or in too much of a display of passion, at least not yet. And the other thing that we kind of have to start being careful of is that we're about to go into an official Mercury retrograde. So before every retrograde, where there's a shadow period like leading up to it, that's where we're at right now. And Friday, Mercury in Aquarius starts to turn retrograde. And so we have a little bit of, that re-examining energy. So if you've heard me talk about Mercury retrograde before, you've heard me share like, it's time to re-examine. It's okay if things go behind. It's actually kind of like I said earlier, like sometimes things have to break down so that you can actually get them better. Like if you have been constantly, taking appointments by hand, like you've been putting them in your book by hand, and suddenly, like things are just, your system's breaking down, like it's not working. You have a full day of cancellations or something like that. Maybe it's time to start thinking like, is there a way that I can be working smarter instead of harder? There's nothing wrong with re-examining your systems, whether it's your business relationships, your scheduling, your relationships, your, processes around your house. We all have places in our life where the reason we do it that way is just the only reason why is because that was the best way we knew how at the time, or that's how we saw somebody else do it. But we haven't necessarily let ourselves really think, is this the best way that this could be done? And so there might be a little bit of that happening this Mercury retrograde, especially in Aquarius. And I think that there's an extra blessing with this one, which I think I'll talk more about Mercury retrograde next week, likely, because I need to do a little bit more research on it in Aquarius specifically. But my gut says that this would probably be the best time while it's in Aquarius to really start thinking like, is there a better way I could be doing this? Is there a smarter way? How can you kind of lean into that visionary quality of Aquarius and let yourself lean into that? I'm going to be doing something that I didn't realize that I had it planned for Mercury retrograde, but I'm going to be launching my website during Mercury retrograde, which the first thing I realized was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Like, this is not good. I don't want everything to go wrong with it. And then I thought, no, stop. Like, you can't just shut everything down during a Mercury retrograde and avoid it. Like, that's not a way to deal with it. Like, the whole point of moving through Mercury retrograde is to be able to face things that go wrong, or to be willing to have things be undone so that you can get them redone the right way. So it's been something that I've been actually working on since I feel like the beginning of December. It was right around Thanksgiving that I started working with a website designer, launching the A Bit From Within website. And after almost 2 months of hard work, we're almost there. Right now, we're just kind of in this final push, and I really wanted to launch it on the next new moon. So next new moon, you're going to be seeing a beautiful new website for me. I'm actually extremely excited. It's been a huge passion project, but it's also, I've been a little bit mentally kind of blank right now or a little extra exhausted because all of my creative resources are going into this huge passion project for me. So I guess that's all I'll share about that right now because it's still in the works a little bit. I can't wait to share even more about it when it's here to launch. But you can be thinking about that a little bit with me. Let me be your example. You don't have to avoid things, but we do need to be willing to be patient and open to whatever comes our way. So hopefully that resonates with you. And gives you a feeling of hope instead of fear. We can get through anything. We just need to be willing to give ourselves sometimes the space to get through it and to also just let time do its thing. So let's take a quick break and then let's come back and talk about stuckness. Okay, welcome back. So you guys, I'm going to be really honest with you and share that lately I have a handful of things I have just been really stuck with. And it's been really hard. And I've been feeling really frustrated and lost and like I'm ready to give up, which part of me is trying to tell myself, like, that's good. That's where you need to go right before you break through. I'm trying to be really positive. But back in December, I had, okay, so like this is a long story. I'm gonna tell the whole story because you guys are listening anyway. So, and if anyone has advice, feel free to share it with me. I'm just gonna share my little story here. So, a while back, I had been on a bunch of different kind of skincare lines. And every time I was on these skincare lines, I was breaking out with like horrible cystic acne. My acne had gotten really, really bad. And so finally I was like, I have to stop all of this. I have to stop putting anything on my skin right now. And I'm just going to switch to, for a while I was doing just coconut oil and then I stopped doing that. And I literally just got these about a year ago. I got like makeup remover towels that I just clean my face every day with water and these like microfibers. And it really helped with a lot of the acne. And I wouldn't say my skin was perfect and luminescent and amazing, but like it in general, like the issues that I was having, those went away. And I couldn't really figure it out. And it's been really hard for me because like I'm starting to feel like I'm aging a little bit. I really care about my skin. I want to have nice skin. So I had been doing a bunch of different research and I had been hearing great things about the Inky List because, it's pretty affordable, but like it's got some good stuff. And so I was like, I'm just going to try this. And so I like followed their like little recipe builder and like got this formula and it was pretty affordable. So I ordered it for myself for kind of an early Christmas present back in like, I think it was right around Black Friday. And I started using it and they were like right away, like the first one day was great. And then after about a week, it started like breaking out, but they say that's kind of normal. They call it like purging, like your skin is purging. And so I was like, okay, this is good. But then 4 weeks later, it had just gotten worse and worse. And like it was getting worse. And I was reading, I'm like, is this still a purge? Like what's happening? And they were like, I read a couple articles, like if it's still happening for more than four weeks, then you need to stop. Like obviously that is, at that point, your skin is not happy. So I stopped using it and kind of gone back to what I was doing before. But now I still have these I'm breaking out in a way that I haven't in a really long time. And I'm feeling super frustrated because now it's probably been about another 3 weeks since I stopped using anything. And anyway, I'm just feeling frustrated. And I don't have an answer. I don't know what to do. I feel like I want to be able to have a skin routine that feels good. But like first I have to get these like horrible, like cysts off my face. Do I sound like an ogre right now? I feel like an ogre. And so I share this because I'm kind of dealing with this. I'm feeling a little bit lost. I don't really feel like I know the right way forward with this acne problem. But I'm also having this frustration with my body because was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday. Like I just told you guys, I'm getting ready to launch this new website. And because a big part of A Bit From Within is me, I need pictures of me. And you guys know, as I am a photographer, I don't really honestly love being in front of the camera. I prefer to be behind the camera. And what's really happening for me is that I am struggling with my own sense of inner security, especially about the way that I look. Now, the good part about all of this coming up, and I so enjoy this medium to share a bit from within, and I encourage you to have somebody or someone that you share a bit from within with also, because having this moment, even just sharing this out loud with you guys, is helping me to reframe this a little bit different. But I've been really struggling with feeling secure in how I look. And being in front of the camera definitely doesn't help. Also, living during a pandemic doesn't help. Launching a business that you care deeply about, like starting from scratch, building this idea from the ground up, probably not the best thing for weight loss unless you are like those people that can like who lose weight during something like that. Although from what I've heard, everyone who has a body that's like that gets equally frustrated with that part of themselves, and they'd like to be able to maintain when they're going through something stressful like that. Also, this is Dave's last week at his full-time job before we take this huge leap for him to work full-time with me. And we have a lot of moving pieces changing in our lives, which is great. And I'm super excited, but let's be honest, it's been very stressful. And I can understand all of that on a conscious level. I can understand and say to myself, what I would say to any person is like, first of all, what I would say to any person, like, you're beautiful exactly how you are. It doesn't matter what size pants you fit in, what you like weight, none of that matters. What matters is that you're a great person. You're doing the best that you can. You're beautiful inside and out. Who cares? But on the inside, I feel frustrated because I had worked so hard for so long to lose weight, to come down to a weight that felt better for me, that I felt good in my body in. It wasn't perfect. I still struggled a little bit, but it felt better. It felt more aligned. And I feel like I'm having this sense of like I am failing myself by backtracking. And it honestly reminds me a lot of when I had to move back in with my parents after I had been on my own for a couple years. That felt like failure. That felt like I told my parents too, like, when I move out, that's it. You'll never see me again. I'm gone. I mean, you'll see me, but I won't be back here because I'm extremely determined and I work really hard. And when I set my mind to something, I commit to it fully. But there's been just so many times in my life where the plan that I committed to has had to break down for me to figure it out again. Okay, are you guys seeing a theme here? Because I hadn't seen it before I sat down and started sharing this. I guess that's where I'm at right now. That's, I guess, where the stuckness is coming from, is I feel like I have nowhere to turn with these two issues that are my body that I feel powerless over right now. And I know that there are things that I can do. I know that if I back off a little bit, I take care of myself, I go back to the basics, that I can find my way back forward. But let's just have a moment to say that the breakdown feels really shitty and it sucks sometimes. It really sucks. Do you feel me, you guys? I'm sure that you do. I'm trying to think of other moments. I guess I could go back to what ended up happening for me after I moved back in with my parents. I'm sure that I maybe have told this story over the podcast, but I'm just going to share this one part again. That weekend that I had moved back in with my parents, so my roommate and I, our lease was ending on December 1st, and Thanksgiving that year fell on November 29th. I think it was a Thursday, and then Friday was the 30th, Saturday was December 1st. So Thanksgiving was on a Thursday, and we were getting ready to move out. I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry. The lease was up. The night before Thanksgiving, I got into a heated moment where I had to stand up for myself fully with my boss. And that conversation led to me putting in my notice for my job, which was not my plan the weekend that I was going to be moving back in with my parents. There had been some tension building for a while. Actually, there was 5 employees who terminated their employment at this place within 2 weeks, and I was one of them. So it had been building for a while, but it all happened very, very quickly. And I was so upset after this moment. The night before Thanksgiving, I just went to my parents' house. I'm going to be living here soon anyway. I'm just going to spend the night here. I woke up on Thanksgiving morning and I could not move. I had thrown my back out so bad. I literally couldn't walk up the stairs, not with assistance, not with anybody's help. I was in one of the worst pain I've ever been in my life with my back. And so spent that whole Thanksgiving just in bed, totally contracted. Somehow mustered up enough physical strength to move all of my stuff that Friday. We just packed up, powered through, put in my immediate notice. It wasn't a 2 weeks. It was based on what happened, this relationship has completed. And suddenly woke up on Saturday, December 1st, living back with my parents, no job, no idea what I was going to do with my life. It was tough. It was a breakdown. And it took a little while to get myself back on my feet. I'm so grateful that I had that landing pad. I know that there are a lot of people who don't have parents they can move back in with, who don't have that soft spot to crash. So I was grateful that it was a soft landing place, but inside it felt like failure. It felt really, really bad. But ultimately, eventually it led me to being able to get a really great part-time job with benefits while I started my business. And you guys know what happened from there. So it ended up being a good transition. And it also, my sister was living at home at the time too. So it was a really good time for her and I to get a lot closer. And now we're still extremely close. And I wonder if that would have continued to happen if it wasn't for that time also. But if you would have asked me then if it was a good thing, I would have not told you that it was. I would have told you that it felt like failure. And, I think there's a lot of parallels in some ways between what was happening then for me, and it's totally different. It doesn't look at all the same. But a lot of what I'm feeling feels a lot like that time in my life. It feels like big things are changing underneath me. I'm really trying to open myself up to letting go of a lot of who I've been so that I can continue to become who I want to become, who I am becoming. But it's tough. It's not an easy, simple road. So when you see somebody who's really transformed, remember, it wasn't an easy road for them to get there, even if it seemed like it was, right? We always show more of one version of ourselves on social media, That's what celebrities have publicists for, to show one version of themselves, to be able to narrate their story, to be in control of it. And we all experience something much different behind the scenes. But, my philosophy is like, if I'm just being honest, if I'm doing the best that I can, then I need to stop being so hard on myself. I need to stop being so insecure. I need to be more compassionate. I need to see myself with the same amount of grace and love that I see all the other beautiful people out there with. And if you need that reminder for yourself too, I hope you take this moment to breathe that in. Well, you guys, I'm so grateful that I got to share this moment with you guys. I think it's a perfect moment for a card reading. So let's do it. Once again, with the Love and Relationships Affirmators deck. Oh, wholeness. I am complete, whole, and filled with love. I have everything I need. If I ask or look for more, I'm ignoring the love and gifts that are already in my life. Instead, I'll be grateful and acknowledge that anything else would be extra icing on life's cake. And then it says in very tiny print underneath, FYI, to whoever is listening, extra icing is totally welcome, as it's obviously the most delicious part. I love that as this reminder. In fact, it's something that's kind of been in my sub-thoughts all day today, is like, you need to sit down, write that gratitude list. You need to root yourself in your gratitude. What are you grateful for? What's going right? Where are the blessings? And I just love this reminder of I am complete, I am whole, and I am filled with love. That is a perfect note to end today's episode with. I'm so grateful for you guys joining me today. If you want to listen to this episode with none of the ads, feel free to check out the Patreon page. Becoming a meditation member, you get access to the ad-free episodes of this podcast, but you also get access to all of the full moon guides, one that will be dropping this week. So full moon, new moon guides, some extra goodies here and there, along with a weekly meditation and access to all the previous meditations as well. I also have the yoga member version where each week, so you get all of that, plus you get a new yoga class each and every week. So if that would speak with you, if you want to help support A Bit From Within, you can go become a member of the community. So if you want to find that link, it's patreon.com/A Bit From Within, and Patreon is Patreon. Soon I'll be unveiling the website and all of the good stuff that comes with that. And yeah. I guess until next time, you guys, have a great week. As always, stay connected. If there's anything that resonates with you, I would love to know what that is and how it made you feel. So, all right, you guys, until next time.